In this lesson, we will go over some important components that appear in some or all LB White heaters. An air housing secures the safety control valve to the venturi tube and allows air to be drawn into a venturi tube with gas flow for combustion. An air pressure switch or differential switch ensures that the burner's fan motor is operating at the proper speed to ensure a safe startup before ignition occurs. As an example, if a piece of paper flew up and got stuck to the air intake end of a heater, the heater would stop receiving the proper amount of air intake and the air pressure switch would be triggered. A burner orifice is a brass metering device that dispenses fuel into the burner casting through a high-precision hole. It delivers just the right amount of fuel to mix with the correct amount of air. A bypass orifice is located in the valve body of the individual controlled heaters. It supplies low-pressure gas to the inner combustion cone when the heat demand is satisfied. A CAD cell is a light-sensitive resistor. It's used to sense the presence of light in the heat exchanger, allowing the heater to continue its operation. An electrode ignites gas by spark. It receives a spark voltage from a piezo igniter. A flame sensor works with ignition control. The sensor proves that a burner flame is established and keeps the burner in operation if there is a call for heat. A fuel gauge indicates the remaining fuel amount in heaters with their own onboard fuel tank. A gas control valve is used to provide fuel to the burner for ignition. When gas flows through, the gas valve has an internal regulator that reduces the flow pressure. So, let's say you have 13 inches water column coming into the heater via your fuel source. It will not actually burn at that. The valve will reduce it down to the 8 inches water column the heater's data plate calls for. A variable rate valve is a manually adjusted valve that allows the user to operate the heater from its lowest to highest heat output or anywhere in between. A gas hose is a flexible connector used to convey gas from the gas supply line to the inlet of the heater. A gas selector valve allows easy gas conversion depending on the gas being supplied in a dual fuel heater. It conveniently eliminates the need for a gas conversion kit. One thing to keep in mind is the gas selector valve is not a shutoff valve. On our heaters, when the knob is in the horizontal position, it is ready for LP gas, and when it is in the vertical position, it is ready for natural gas. The high limit safety switch, or high temperature controls, turn the heater off if the internal temperature reaches an unsafe level. Heaters can come with one or two of these, and they feature an auto or manual reset design. Hour meters display how many hours of use the fan belt has. An igniter is responsible for lighting or igniting the fuel. A hot surface igniter, HSI, receives an electrical current which heats its surface. A spark igniter consists of a small, spring-loaded hammer which, when a button is pressed, hits a crystal of PZT. This sudden forceful deformation produces a high voltage and subsequent electrical discharge, which ignites the gas. And a pilot ignition includes a small flame that is kept lit in some gas-fired heaters. When you turn on your heater, gas is released to the main burner and the pilot light ignites that gas to start the heater and provide heat. An ignition control module, also known as the black box, brain box, or control board, controls the function of the heater. It performs several tasks, such as starting the fan motor, proving that the safety devices are operating, and checking for direct flame sense. LED lights are indicators that will give you a flash code to determine what sort of troubleshooting is needed for your heater. A manual burner valve supplies or closes off gas to the burner. A modulating actuator valve is an automated valve that is used to control the amount of gas flow based on the voltage supplied by the temperature controller. A motor relay is responsible for supplying power to one of the motor's leads. A pilot tube is a formed copper tube used to convey gas from the safety control valve to the pilot light orifice. A regulator is the heart of any gas supply installation. They are used to deliver a working pressure to the heater under varying conditions in tank pressure. A heat relay receives incoming power from the building controller's heating contacts and from the heater's ignition control to start the fan motor during the heating phase. A sediment trap is used to help catch any sediment or debris that may be present in the gas line and prevent it from entering the heater and possibly damaging it. A selector switch is available on some of our industrial and event heaters. This switch allows the user to select heat, vent, or off. Heat sets the heater to heating mode, vent cycles the air without heating, and off obviously turns the heater off. A signal conditioner receives the incoming electrical signal from a building's environmental control and then amplifies it to allow operation of the heater's variable rate gas control valve. This component operates off of 24 VAC received from the transformer in the heater's control box. If the transformer does not supply 24 VAC to the conditioner, or if the conditioner is defective, the variable rate gas control will operate at minimum heat output only. Solenoid valves are dual valves controlled by an electric current, 120 VAC, to move a plunger to an open position. A temperature controller is a digital gas-fired heating controller that modulates the output voltage of two 10 VDC to the modulating actuator valve. In the event of a temperature sensor failure, the controller will operate the modulating actuator at half BTU output, 5 VDC. A thermocouple is a device for measuring temperature. It comprises two dissimilar metallic wires joined together to form a junction. When the junction is heated or cooled, a small voltage is generated in the electrical circuit of the thermocouple, which can be measured, and this corresponds to temperature. A thermostat is an on-off switch that reacts to temperature changes. A thermostatic head and modulating valve allows more or less gas pressure to the combustion cones during normal operation of the individual control heaters and modulating zone panels. A tip switch or tip-over switch is a normally closed device. It will open the circuit to the safety control valve and shut the burner off if the heater is accidentally tipped over, moved while in operation, or operating on an inclined surface. A transformer reduces the incoming voltage from your power source, 120 VAC, to 24 VAC. 24 VAC is needed to power the heater's control valve. A vent relay operates the fan motor only when the building controller calls for air movement only, or no heat. A voltmeter will display how much voltage is supplied as soon as the heater is plugged in.